I'm Professor Penny Jane Burke, and I'm one of the co-editors of the book that we're launching this evening, Gender in an Era of Post-Truth Populism, which we're ever so excited to launch. And Julia Kofi is here too as a co-editor, and we're both going to say just a very few words just to kind of outline the book, and then we're going to hand over to our special speakers for the evening. But before I start, I'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on what was, is, and always will be a Awabakal land. And the book really has resonance across contemporary contexts, but also the ongoing struggles of First Nations people in Australia and, of course, across the world. But it also has historical significance in the lies and the false claims to truth made by colonizers. So indeed, we can never understand questions of equity and social justice unless we contextualize these in the hidden and not so hidden histories in which people have been, but also continue to be, confronted by structures of oppression. So I think it's really important to locate the book in those histories, but also in the contemporary implications that the book is trying to engage in. But I'd like to also pay our deepest respect to elders past, present, and emerging, and of course to our Indigenous colleagues and friends here this evening. And thank you everybody for being here to celebrate with us tonight, as well as having our wonderful speakers who I will introduce a little bit later, properly and formally. I'm going to say a few words just to give you a sense of the book. I'm going to hand over to Julia, who will also do that. But we're also quite excited that we have invited the authors and co-editors who can't be here this evening to generate some video reflections of their chapters. So just in this little space over here, you'll be able to view their reflections on the chapters. So we just wanted to find a way to make sure that everybody who's been involved in the project of this book, or at least some of the people who've been involved, could actually have a voice here too. And we are recording this because we want to have something to offer beyond this evening, so that other people who couldn't be here tonight can engage with the discussion around the book. And I should also mention Akane Kanai and Roz Gill, who are co-editors of the book, as well as our many wonderful authors. And I'm also really delighted that we're holding the event in the gallery during the exhibition of the work of artist Isabella Pluta. So that's just a beautiful background for this occasion, so that's fantastic. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a history of the book, because it's been a long kind of journey in the making, but in a really powerful and exciting way, because lots of people have engaged in this project. So it started off as a special issue for teaching in higher education, the Taylor and Francis Journal. And so that started off probably towards the end of 2016 as a conception. We put out a call for papers. It was co-edited by myself and Ronelle Carolison. And there are some fabulous articles in that special issue that really complement this book if you're interested, and that was published in 2018. After that, we had the idea of hosting the Gender and Education Association Conference in Newcastle, which was really exciting. And Julia, Akane, and Roz and I formed an organizing committee. It was hosted by the Center of Excellence for Equity in Higher Education, and held actually at New Space across the road. And we built on that special issue with the theme of trying to explore the implications of post-truth populism for feminist pedagogies and practices. So that was at the end of 2018, and our keynote speakers were Raywyn Connell, Jane Kenway, Susan Page, and Sandra Hale, all who have chapters in the book. And some of the contributors to the Gender and Education Conference also have pieces in the book, but we also have other pieces from across other parts of the world for people who weren't able to participate in the conference. So in other words, getting to this place tonight has taken a long time, but there's been a lot of contribution into the space. It's been a really rich intellectual space, but also for thinking about the implications of thinking about post-truth populism for how we can engage pedagogically, how we can engage methodologically, and how we can engage in practice as well. So just to say a little bit about the aims of the book. So we really wanted the book to be kind of an open space, a pedagogical space to think together with our readers about the emerging and also urgent issues related to post-truth populism and its implications for social movements, for social justice, for feminist pedagogies and feminist activism. So just to say that we recognize that populism has emerged in various formations over time and space, and so isn't necessarily a new phenomenon. For the book, we're particularly interested, though, in the contemporary formations of post-truth populism, which plays out in different ways across a range of geopolitical contexts. And we understand it as an intersecting force with neoliberalism, neocolonialism, neopatriarchies, and other forms of structures of inequality that intersect with deep implications for social justice. Post-truth populism is a manipulative strategy that asserts some kind of sense of alliance of a notion of the people, which is then used to serve basically authoritarian aims. And it deliberately works to deepen social divisions and resentments, and it creates opposition to what is constructed as an elite. And it really attacks expert knowledges and any kind of form of intellectualism. It has a real contempt for intellectualism. Post-truth politics has continuously acted to damage the fundamental principles of democracy and democratic systems. And in this context, one of our key aims and areas of focus are on the politics of knowledge, knowing, and truth within the context of challenges posed by the forces around post-truth populism and what that means for our engagement pedagogically with questions around truth, the formation of meaning, and the formation of knowledge. So in the book, we don't seek to provide fixed solutions, but to raise key questions with the aim to help create the conditions for ongoing feminist interventions through knowledge formation, pedagogies, and praxis. And so asking questions, we've kind of used question raising in the introduction of the book to frame the project that we're engaged in. So we're particularly concerned to examine the repositioning and re-articulation of feminist interventions in and through education, and with explicit feminist pedagogical principles and aims, and what that looks like. Of course, feminist pedagogies, feminist activisms are also incredibly diverse. So we're really trying to open up debate and discussion about what that looks like in the context of post-truth populism.